Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another live Pioneer card game in the Old Emo Dave channel. I'm John, and I'm here with Old Emo Dave again to commentate on another interesting Pioneer match that we have today. What are we looking at, Dave?
Hi, John. Yeah, welcome back to the usual slot here. We are watching Phoenix, or is it Phoenix, versus Quintorous combo. We've gone straight into it. But a little bit about the decks on the left-hand side. We got Idris playing effectively stock Izzet Phoenix. And we got Pete again on the right-hand side. He's actually playing Quintorous combo with a lot of the temple lands. A land which everyone thought was dead, but it's actually been showing up in this Quintorous combo deck where you're scrying away, because the one big thing you don't want to do with the deck is you don't want to actually draw your C double, which is your enabler for your Quintorous combo. But we'll see how it plays out, because it's never fun bringing in a tap land in this meta. So yeah, and there you go, he's scrying away again. So maybe it's the path to victory. We'll see.
One of the things you gotta mention with scry lands and why people kind of downplay them a lot is just because they come in tap. Sure, you get the scry, but unless you're kind of a more control-y style deck or a combo style deck like Quintorous, they tend to not see a lot of favor in the more aggressively skewed decks in Pioneer, which is, I believe, a bit more popular.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, for example, like imagine Phoenix having like a tapped land here onto whilst trying to free the Fae. He would have just be slowing it right down. That's a great free.
Yeah. And when early turns matter a lot, a deck like Quintorous that doesn't want anything more than 4 mana, or less than 4 mana rather, in the deck is very ideal. And
yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, but I'm not sure about the temple lands in this one.
No, me neither. Mainly because as well, it shuts off Leyline Binding, which is also in the deck, which you have to sort of think like, you want to. Like he's got like 5 mana here, and the Leyline Binding is still going to cost 4. Yeah. So which usually with 3 lands out, it's just costing 1 in most metas. So luckily for Quintorous, there's actually a really slow start on the side of the Phoenix player here. Whilst they try to Greater Tanuki. Now this isn't a card you see every day.
So Great Tanuki has a channel ability, which is not counterable unless you have a Stifle style ability, which is effectively a ramp spell, which in a card deck like Quintorous that wins on turn 5, if it could win a turn earlier, it would be because of a card like this Tanuki. So I understand why. I'm a bit what's confusing me at the moment is that we're not seeing Quintorous getting slammed down.
We're not, but to be totally fair, we've had 3 scries, we've had at least 7 turns, and neither of the combo pieces are there. Either this is really bad luck or really bad deck building. Either way around. But we're actually even very close to being able to hard cast Herd Migration, which is also in this deck, where you hardly ever see that card actually cast for its full mana. It's usually just a go get a land spell, but. Yeah, slamming Quintorous has usually happened by now in these matches.
And unfortunately, though, I would say Herd Migration is not that great in this style of deck, as I don't believe all the land types are available.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like that's the other thing we're playing the temples. Like if you haven't got that many basics, you could just run out. Whilst we see a Beanstalk Giant going on an adventure, another essential ramp spell in this deck. And, well, at least there's one positive here, John. We now have Domain.
Yeah, Domain has been achieved. And you know what? Maybe Herd Migration will be a bit more lethal now. But a positive thing about the Giant in this style of deck, like, all right, no Quintorous, kind of lame. But that Giant can come down and be a big threat. And a lot of the removal for Izzet Phoenix is damage-based. The Giant will be big enough so that Idris will have to commit more than 1 burn spell in order to deal with the Giant, unless, he gets the Odawara, bounce it back, but he's kind of just delaying the inevitable. but seeing a lot of
Yeah.
phoenixes in the bin.
Yeah, he has a lot of phoenixes in the bin. Quite surprising. I guess he's holding up a counter spell, right? But he had one. He was one spell away from returning 3 phoenixes. So I guess he was fearing the combo, like ultimately, which I guess is a there's a line that you need to respect it. Oh, look at that! The Quintorous is actually right at the bottom of the deck at that point. Shuffle that well, Pete. Shuffle it well. Oh, and I was wrong. It's now domain. As we are playing the Ixalan lands, the blue and the black are very, very similar.
My word! You know what? I thought that was an island. Now that's an island. Okay, I get it.
So yeah, now they're out, there is basically cantrips and draw spells for days. We absolutely don't know what that card is. I don't know what that card is. It's just been put on the dead part of the screen. And just for everyone at home, we moved to a new spot for tonight's matches. We have learned that the glare was a little bit bad in places, but we've worked on that, and we won't have it in too many future videos. The next couple of weeks' videos on the channel are going to have a little bit of glare of that land spot, but we'll try and make sure we can grab it. Grab what the card is at some point. And that is actually an Ashiok Dreamrender. So sensible, like Mills cards. They've milled their 4 Phoenix into the bin, which is pretty good.
It's pretty typical. Idris is known to win purely by luck in these FNMs.
Oh, and Pete's gonna ley line bind in the Ashiok. Like, to be fair, needed, because that would also stop the combo, right?
Well, not necessarily. I do not believe Quintorious's discoverability is a search.
Oh no, it's not a search, is it? Actually, that's correct. It's actually a cast, so they would have been fine.
Because they exile a card that they cast a card from exile, which doesn't search the deck. It exiles the top card, which does get around it. But but stopping Ashiok does stop sort of the ability to kind of keep filling the yard for Izzet Phoenix. I mean, they already have all the Phoenixes, but I guess for things like Treasure Cruise, for things like... Yeah, it's just Treasure Cruise. Maybe that extra turn spell? I forget the name of it.
Oh, Temporal Trespass.
Temporal Trespass. And in a situation like this, when you're afraid of the Quintorous combo going off, Idris is holding up the counterspell magic, but with the amount of lands on the board, Spell Pierce isn't good enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Not at this point. He does just win if he gets his Phoenixes back though, right? Like, there's a Galvanic Intuition there as well, for like the second trigger. I guess that's what he just cast into Treasure Cruise, if that's the ordering. So I think he wins here. But we'll see. He's keeping like 3 mana. He specifically counted out what mana he's using. I'm going to really guess that there's like at least 1 leyline bind in there, if not a second, in the hand, which is probably still just not enough.
No, not if Temporal Trespass is going to get cast this turn. An impressive one.
Oh yeah.
Typically in these style of decks, but Izzet Phoenix goes through the deck so much that a one-off Temporal Trespass is a legitimate win condition you can see in all 3 games.
It's all that's needed as well, right? You just lines up the birds, lines up the Phoenixes. Yeah, we're getting a binding cast. I guess you target like the bigger shredder.
It does show the most damage. But one thing that's quite surprising about this giant is that it doesn't have reach.
I know, like, that's one of the tallest characters in the whole of the multiverse, and it is unable to get up there and get the boots. But this countdown is very clearly some kind of delve, probably tempo. Yeah, there it is. It's on top. Temporal Trespass. So effectively displaying it, and absolutely that is game 1. So a bit of a bust for the Quintorous combo. That was a C double. Still did nothing for them, but they went through somewhere in the region of 20 cards, plus they also went through 6 scries, and they didn't see the combo. That just happens sometimes, and you just dust those off. You go GG. I'm guessing they're bringing they're bringing in probably a little bit more removal, but there is something spicy in the sideboard of Quintorous combo, and that's Dragon Lord Dramoka.
Oh,
Now, John, tell us about that card.
well, I mean, from personal experience or what the card actually does? Because personal experience,
Well,
man, I just get Vietnam flashbacks, bro. As someone who is
I know.
also an Izzet deck enjoyer, that card is painful. So, massive dragon, lifelink, cannot be countered, effectively stops you from playing instant speed spells during your opponent's turn. It is the kind of card that a deck like Izzet Phoenix doesn't want to see.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I mentioned it purely because I felt at some point in your life you've seen a Dragon Lord Jamoka on the other side of the field and probably just scooped up your deck.
Yeah,
because it's quite difficult for any is it mage to deal with if it comes down and at any point other than you being on one life on the Quintorous side. I think you're in a good spot. It's uncountable, which is another amazing setup. But 6 mana is tough, but you do have a lot of ramp spells. You played somewhere in the region of 25 to 27 lands in this Quintorous deck. So with that in mind, I don't want to say it's difficult to miss a land drop, because of course you can miss a land drop, but you can get to 6 pretty much by turn 6. And in almost all situations.
And the insane part is one of the clone effects, I believe, in a Quintorous deck can clone a legendary creature and not legend rule it.
That's right. So imagine a Jamoka into a sea double. Yeah. That would be a beautiful sight.
I would have flipped the table. But the thing is, we do also notice that Izzet Phoenix, when it's Phoenix time, and that is the term, that is the scientific term for what happens when Phoenix comes out of the graveyard. When Phoenix time happens, a lot of the spells are played at sorcery speed. They are played main phase 1. So Dramoka doesn't really stop Phoenix in that sense, but it is a big enough blocker that kind of negates any kind of damage that the Phoenix deck could possibly do.
Yeah, sure. And I just can't wait for the stop Phoenix time memes to come off the back of that. That's the thing. As we see a second Temple of Mystery, strange colors, but you do sometimes need to be able to cast your green and blue, and because of the double pips. So and also I believe there's also counter spells with reduce and rubble.
Oh my word.
In the sideboard. So I hope they have them, because they've just played the 3 green and blue lands. So I hope that let's hope they hit some red or some white to start getting towards that Quintorous mana.
It is a little unfortunate for Pete there. Literally, if he was playing a Simic deck, perfect. But not a bad draw. That seems to be something off the top for Pete there. Oh, and then a gate.
Oh, the gate. Okay, but they did have another land, Temple of Abandon. That's good. It's red and it's green.
Oh,
so red is good.
Temples, Ben. Are you playing?
I know. That's quite a few. That's quite a few temples, and I think we're sort of seeing like the downside of playing this version of the deck. That the temples kind of like in principle are good, but in practice don't turn out so good.
No,
as we try to herd migration for probably our second red, or at least a red white.
Well, most likely the white source.
Yeah, the white source. So we at least know we could cast Quintorous on 5 if we have it. Well, if this is 5, so we'll be casting it on 6.
Turn 6. It depends. We are aware that Idris has sideboarded in the gates now for this matchup, and but not as lucky this time. Have yet to see if I spoke too soon.
and that's the cat and mouse, right, of this setup is ultimately if you resolve your card as the Quintorous combo player, you win. So sometimes you could be staring down a board state or a way the hand has been held, and maybe like psych yourself out, and like that's, I suppose, it's like the golden rule of if you got to make them have it, but sometimes you think they have it and you don't want them to have it. So we'll see how this one plays out. I hoping we at least get an attempted cast of some of the combo pieces. And
you know what's hilarious about this particular mana setup for Pete right now? is that he can just about cast Leyline Binding.
It would still be 5, and if these are all shock lands, then he would at least be able to cast it for 2.
Oh my word!
It's a situation. Let us know in the comments what you think. Would you be playing Quintorous with temples? Let us know if you think there's any good reason for keeping temples over triomes or even shock lands.
Oh. We are seeing Idris attempting to sort of filter through his deck a bit more. And I don't know, in his position, I completely understand where Idris is coming from though. He wants to keep up the counterspell mana in order to deal with Quintorous. So if anything, the existence of the card itself is at least forcing Idris to play differently. And here we go, the full price Leyline Binding.
The 5 mana Leyline Binding. Is he going to? He's negating a 5 mana Leyline Binding. Okay.
So are the gates open though? Has Idris's luck run out in this position?
I think the gates would have been open if that was an untapped land. Because I believe there's a Carnazoned hand. Now, I'd like to think if you do you just deal with the shredder and hope for another one. I'm not sure. The hand went off to the side, which is interesting. Like, you know, sometimes when you're playing F&M, there's a little bit of sort of general banter. So like when the hand goes off to the side, it's usually to be like, take a little sneaky peek, see what's going on. So whilst all that's happening, Idris, who's like incredibly speedy player here, is actually just going through his cantrips, going through all of his plays.
Oh my word!
Filling up that yard. We'll be calling him Turbo Junior any day now.
I mean, let's hope that doesn't follow him in bed as well, Dave. But one thing I wanted to point out is that Idris had just drawn 2 mystical disputes off that treasure cruise. He's still going, so I believe Phoenix time is upon us.
I believe it is.
And obviously, and then once again, Idris finding Phoenix's near the top of his deck. You can argue he filtered through a lot of his cards, but it will not stop me from saying that he's just lucky.
Yeah, no, mystical dispute is going to mean he's going to have to hold up 3 mana. Yep. So let's see if he does that.
I mean, he does have. Oh, he doesn't. We are aware that Idris does have negates. So this.
But he's played 2. He's actually played 2 though, which I know that we have a little bit more info than Pete does, but you kind of like probably hope that they don't have it in that case. But what's happening here? Pete is okay. Okay, so he's dealing 3 damage with the Trumpeting Carnosaur, which is interesting. Which suggests, like, the thing is that 2 mana just spooking him out? Because technically right now, from what we think we know about Idris's hand, he doesn't have it.
Yeah.
He may have it. Can we see if he no, he doesn't. I don't think he has it.
Oh.
But instead is casting the Dragon Lord Dramoka. So this is interesting, because even if he could have had it, this is potentially against Phoenix a much better plan. Looking at Idris's hand, I don't think he can deal with it.
Idris.
So if this sticks around, wow.
But it's like I was saying earlier, a lot of the removal is
he top decked it. He's top decked the Lightning Axe.
But so I'm sure Dramoka is bigger than 5 toughness.
But there's another spell in that hand, I think. I think I saw a Fiery Impulse.
Possibly.
No, there's not. No. But he has cantrips. Now can he okay, so he's attacking.
Oh,
he's attacking.
Baiting out the damage.
Okay, interested. He's baiting out the damage, doesn't get it. So now he's forced to go digging. So let's keep a keen eye on these draws.
I mean, he does have the command in hand. Actually, he does have 7 damage.
It is a Prismari command.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could just go that way, right?
Yeah.
He is. So the Prismari command into the top decked Lightning Axe, or the Fiery War Axe, as we called it before, has basically saved the game. Because if this Dromoka had hung around, this was game over. This was not, because we also saw in Pete's hand that there was a C double also in hand.
Oh. And that might have been.
Oh my goodness. That would have been GG.
Yeah.
Right now, he's literally, and he's passed his hand off to the right, clearly showing people, oh, look what could have happened. we feel you, Pete. We would have wanted the content, don't you worry.
But instead, we got Idris being lucky again.
Oh,
typical Idris.
Better be lucky than good,
Oh.
Better be lucky than
Oh,
good.
and he even discards the counterspell, the BM, from this young man.
Oh, no way. And also still has one with 3 mana held up now. So let's see what has Pete got anything. Can he
You know,
at least try and combo?
there is one thing Idris could have done differently, and this is what I mean by. I'm not entirely sure if being lucky versus good would have been good here, but if Idris had also attacked with Phoenix, it was also 3 power. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, and Phoenix is the recurable one, but he decided to risk it by attacking with the card that doesn't come back from the graveyard for free.
Yeah, true. But just looking at what we've just seen play out, Pete had it on this turn and chose to put Karuga to hand instead of jam the Trumpeting Carnosaur. Is that Idris had just got in his head?
I mean,
by getting out of an almost impossible situation, discarding a Mystical Dispute, showing him he has Mystical Disputes that he could play, leaving 3 mana open, and we know from the info that Idris didn't actually
no, he did have it.
He actually discarded it.
No, he discarded the 1.
He
drew 2. There's
Oh,
another one in his hand because, you know, he drew 2 off the Treasure Cruise, and that's the second one he's discarded now. So this is the kill turn. This is Phoenix time going off with 2 Phoenixes in the bin. And
yeah, that's an opt, I guess.
I consider.
But is a consider.
But
yeah.
And there is the extra turn spell.
Yeah, there's the extra turn spell. Phoenixes are coming out. I think Pete's just having a quick look to see like how far am I behind.
Yeah. One of the things about the Quintorous combo that might have been good. Obviously, there's all hindsight. Cavernous Souls into the Carnosaur.
I believe that would be that is the right way to build this deck. I think playing maybe at least like 2 Cavernous Souls if you can't afford the colors, and then also Triomes cycle are much better ways. But we're kind of probably just watching the last days of Pete here. He said, oh, okay. So basically he's just saying like, I'm dead to this. I got Return to the Winds, but I'm dead anyway. Oh yeah. I think basically you had off Idris. I have the spell anyway. Oh wow, it was close. I don't want to see this deck just disappear and die out of nowhere. We're just seeing Dromoka and Chandra Burning Inferno came in. Not too sure about the other card, but Phoenix once again proven very dominant. It got itself out of the spot there by just purely being able to have the ability to draw many cards.
I guess you can kind of see the argument for saying something like Treasure Cruise should be banned, right?
I fully support that argument,
especially.
I think.
Sorry.
No, I think because of exactly what we saw there. Like if you're building a deck so that you're in a spot, but you can get out of it by chaining 3 or 4 spells. I guess some would say it's a live by the sword, die by the sword, and it's not got consistency. But as we keep seeing time and time again, the good players on these decks have consistency. We laugh and we joke, but well done, Idris. You played well. Better luck next time for Quintorous combo. I'm sure we'll see it again on the channel. But Johnny, got any last words?
You got lucky this time, Idris.
Not so much next time. We'll see you on the next one.